Okay, today I'm gonna talk about props in React. What is props? So, state, compared to state is the data initialized inside of class. Props is an object collecting or data passed into passed from outside of class. So suppose there is a class component person exit React component. In this class there's render. Let's return a def. One. What is props? And give it unsorted list. Right? So now we open this. Render person props. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so now we want to pass some values into this class, so it can be rendered here. Suppose we have, so where we can pass this value, we can pass inside of this element tag, component element tag. So suppose I have a vehicle, and inside of the class we can accept something, instance property called props. We can render it here. This is the props name. You can see it here, vehicle, and this is the prop on the instance. So it is an object, right? So right here we pass a single value key value pair, and we can pass multiple values. Suppose there is another age is called, it is 29. So we can also do age, right? Two values. We can also do the structuring assignment. So right here I can do const gender Okay, so this is the way we pass key value pairs into the element, right? Into the class component. So this is the way we use props compared to states. States only initialize some data internally, and now we can pass some values outside the class, right? Out from the element tag. So now we can pass many values at once or pass an object. So right here, now you only have 3 key value pairs. Imagine you have 100 key value pairs at the same time. So you can not just pass it in this way one by one, right? You want to just compress all the data in one object, because when you retrieve some data from database, the data has been the data would be returned is like something like a JSON data, and finally we convert JSON data into an object, then print the object on the page, right? So it is very useful if we can pass an object by the element tag. So suppose we have something okay, so we give a object object okay. So right here we can have a instance, have an object. So name, Fico, age 29, and gender male, right? So how we pass this object into the element, we can use this spread parameter. Maybe you will be a little bit confused. Let us see what happens here first. Right, same thing. You just display. It works fine. Maybe you will be a little bit confused with this, because let me give you an example here. So when we talk about script, spread operator, there are several ways that we can use spread operator on either array or object, right? So first we do deep copy. we have two objects here. First, we want to do a deep copy. Let's do object 3, object 1. So you can see here we display, this is obj3, and obj3 is exactly same as obj1, right? So deep copy means that there is one object as a property, as a value of k, c. So all the second layer data has also been copied. Okay. So merge object, so that obj4, obj1, comma, obj2, so obj4, as you can see here. So second object has the same attributes or properties as the first project. The second one gonna cover the first one. So obj1 has three properties, A, B, and C. obj2 has two properties, A, B, and C. So obj2 cover obj1. Finally, it becomes to obj4, 4, 5, 6, stuff like this. So it can also do modify values and add values. So let obj5 equal to spread operator obj1, and we modify one value. Suppose we want to modify k1, ka. So let's modify the value, and we add a new value called key value pair 99. Right. So now we'll do G5. As you can see here, right? So it was supposed to be obj1, but the ka has been modified. We add another new values here, right? So this is how we use use spread operator on the object. So suppose we want to do test. So let's do console test. We'll just simply put a spread operator here. Let's see what happens. Right, so you cannot use spread operator before an object without curly bracket, so we cannot use it this way. So this is wrong syntax. We can also use it spread operator on the array. So when you use it on the array, you can just simply put the spread operator before the array. 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So when you use spread operator, you have to use with object. You have to use it instead of curly bracket. So back to this. So we use this, it works. So this object has been spreaded as several parts. Each part is one key value pair, right? But in Java JSX, we use the curly bracket instead that it is JavaScript syntax, right? But in raw JavaScript, we cannot just put spread operator before object directly. So we cannot use .p in raw JavaScript actually. So why it works in this context? Because okay, so is not allowed in raw JavaScript, right? And works here because Barbell plus react.development.js file. The only reason why it works because we are using under the environment of Barbell plus react.development.js file, and .p only works instead of element tag, not any other scenarios. So suppose we have a console log test .p. Let's see what happened here. Just give you an empty, right? So this is empty after test, right? We put .p right here. So it only works when you put that instead of this element tag. Now we can pass the multiple values in whatever how many key value pairs inside of the object. You can just pass that by this way using this curly bracket, right? So print age on the page. So now as you can see right here, so we passed the age 29 through this component element tag, right? Component tag. So suppose when we display it here, want to display something like age +1. So suppose we have, let me just copy and paste it here. Right. Okay, now it's 30. It is 30, right? So we can just simply add 1 here. But suppose there is another scenario, like we have name, vehicle, age 29, and gender male. Now you can see the difference. This is 30, but this one, it is 29 1. Why? Because when you pass the value, you pass a string here. So it didn't do any expression or it didn't do any calculation. Instead, it did a concatenation, right? So just because when you pass something through the component tag, the type of this value is incorrect. So how should we handle that? So to solve problem below, we can put restrictions on the past values. Suppose we have 3 restrictions. Name is string, default, and is required. So age is number and default value is 18. So gender is string and default value is male, right? So we have 3 requirements like this. We want to put some restrictions on those key values passed into the component to ensure that when we do some data manipulation or expression, the data format is correct enough, right? Okay, so how should we do that? We can put something like this. So person prop tabs. You can configure this to limit. You put the restrictions on the key value pair. So like name React. There is a class called PropTabs, and you can set up a string. Okay, let's see what happened here. It said on caught typo error cannot read property string of undefined. Why? Because this one is obsolete. This one is only used React version under 15. So in the most recent version of React, we can just simply use, there is a prop tabs object string. This is an independent object called PropTabs, right? So if you want to use this, you have to import something from here. Just this one, prop-tabs.js file. The reason why React has updated this feature and make it an independent file, because we don't want to put a lot of redundant or non-related class or properties on the object, React object, or React object will become huge. So we want to, in this case, we want to do that. We want to import another JS files, and in this case, a new project object will be imported, which is PropTabs right here. Right, you can see it here, and this is used React version 16 and plus, right? So we can also do PropTabs number gender PropTabs string, right? So okay, let's take a look. As you can see here, it says invalid prop age of tab string supplied to person expected number. So this is a string, all right? So if we pass a number here, no error message, and it display 30 and 30, there's no error anymore, right? To put the limitation, a restriction on those past values, right? So other than that, we wanna, this one is required, right? So in this case, if I wanna remove the name key value pair, name is marked as required, right? Okay. So still we wanna give us some default values, right? So name, we give default value vehicle, and age 18, and gender male default, right? Vehicle 30 male, and suppose we remove all those props here. Vehicle 19 in default, right? It is 18 in default, right? And we add 1 on the age, so vehicle 19 and male. All right, so this is how we put restrictions on the past values. Clean code. Again, we wanna clean this code a little bit. So we define some, we put some restrictions outside the class. This is what we don't want. All right, we want to do something else. We want to just nested all the specifications inside of a class. So now we need to review a little bit about JavaScript. The properties in the class. So suppose I have a person class, right? So now I wanted to add instance properties. So we can do constructor name, this name thing, name. We can also add class property. We give age 999. We can also put add static properties. We can put static speak. We just add a property, like add a static property. This is a function, right? So this is static property, right? This add property, you can also do person dot say. Go to function. This is also a static property, right? So these two ways are both work fun when we want to add some static property on the class, right? So now let's take a look. So we want to do person, we want to do new person, we give it a fickle. So the difference between add instance property and add class property is this instance property changed whenever you pass different values when you create a new instance, and this property is in the all instance. They are same. Every instance you create, there is a property, instance property named age, and the value is 9999, right? So let's take a look at this. So this is the person class, right? So this is an instance, and this is the property we create from constructor. This is the class property we add. So every instance, let's see, you want to do fickle of you. You have 3, and all of those instances, they have a property, instance property age 9999, right? So when we take a look at this prototype, as you can see here, there is a static property speak. There is also a static property say, right? They are both functions. So now you can see it here. When we put restrictions on the class, we actually declared a static property outside the class. So we can just simply put that inside of class, and right here we cannot use person, we use static. And now we pass P right here. Let's take a look. As you can see here, clean code, right? So it just works fun. So suppose right here I give it a hello world, which is a string, right? But inside of the class we have already declared this restriction. Age should be a number tab. So error message, right? String number. So it just works fun. So in this way we can clean our code. We put all the restrictions inside of class, right? So at last we wanna back to functional component props. So suppose we have a function strapped barbell. We have a function component. We call it person as well. All right. So we just simply return h1. This is function component. Render person and file function. So okay, just take a look at this first. This is functional component, right? So suppose we want to pass some value inside of the function component. We pass some props. Can we do that? Yes, we can. We can do vehicle. Same way we pass value, but how we can accept the values? We can accept it here, props, because function has parameters. So we can do props name vehicle, right? This is the way functional component accept props. Yeah, this is pretty much about props. About props today. Okay.